sir. All right. Here we go. Let me start off with this. This past week, we lost a legendary figure, a legendary icon, legendary man, legendary coach, Coach Big Dave Simpson from New Bern. He started Track Eastern Carolina, where they dominated nationally. He built New Bern's program into a national program. He was a great father. He was a great family man, all of the above. Nothing but our hearts go out to Big Dave. He was a guy you always can call on. Big Dave was a guy that was special in my life. If it wasn't for Big Dave, I would have never ran track in college. I would never been able to meet those guys. I met him for 1 week. 2 weeks later, he got me a scholarship. Big Dave's been big in my life. I appreciate everything he's done for me. Prayers for the family, condolences. Even after that, after college, I came back and coached. Make a call. Big Dave's there. He's talking to me, telling me what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right. 15 years later, he just pops up out the blue. Hey, Trey, I got this kid I want you to look at. I want you to move around this kid. I want to see what you can do for this kid. 2 years later, hey, Trey, I got some more kids. Can you help me with this? Can you help me get these kids? At the end of the day, Big Dave was a community leader. And he impacted this community in Eastern North Carolina more than anybody else ever will, in my opinion. Condolences to the family. We're going to do a moment of silence for Mr. Big Dave Simpson. All right. I didn't get to bring in my host yet. I mean, my guest yet, and we will. But before I even bring you in, Coach, Coach over there, both of you guys knew Coach Big Dave. Had you a chance to say something about him?
Yeah, I'll just like say, Dave, he's a guy, like I said, he loved track and he loved kids, and nothing get him more excited than bring some kids, talented, get them on the showcase, put them on the stage the kids supposed to be on. And that was his passion. I was like I said, if you took track away from him, hey, I don't know what it would be. But like I said, and I've seen him get excited so many times. He would drive, and people don't realize that this go all coach on level. He probably would drive 3 hours to work with a kid and see some talent and stuff. And I told Dave, I was like, he had stepped out for a little while, the coach, and I told him, I said, now, Dave, you in the new era with social media and stuff now. When he came back, but like I said, his legend before social media was like urban legend from Charlotte to the East Coast, all over. So he was just a great guy, great passion. He's definitely going to be missing the track community, and as a father, and as a great role model.
Coach, you had your time in New Bern. I'm sure y'all crossed paths a lot.
Yeah, we
I
did.
know you know Little Dave
quite a bit. Know Little Dave, played for him at New Bern High, and of course Daryl Reynolds, Jannard Taylor, Dante Fields. I mean, he had so many kids that played basketball for me that were great track stars for him, and poured into them. But yeah, I mean, I think y'all hit it. He was always pouring into kids. He was always trying to help kids get to that next level. And you know, he was excited about seeing them play all sports. I mean, track was obviously his thing, and he was great in track, and he built a powerhouse at New Bern High in track. But you know, certainly he was just as supportive of the kids playing basketball or playing football, and just a great community, great father, great community advocate for kids. And so we really miss him.
Absolutely. Good words from both of you guys. One more time, shout out to Big Dave for everything you've done.
No doubt.
All right, let me get into my guest for the hour. The man, the myth, the legend. I'm about to run this off and make you sound good, Coach. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. John Paul II Catholic isn't just hiring a basketball coach. They're investing in a man who spent more than 2 decades building young men, building programs, and building winners. 331 career victories, 17 state playoff appearances, 10 Conference Coach of the Year awards, service of the NCSHAA Board of Directors. But if you ask Todd Morgan what matters the most, it isn't the trophies. It's the impact he's had on the lives and the players he's coached. Today begins a new chapter for the Saints. It ain't today, but we're going to start it today.
There you go.
Let's take a look at one of the most accomplished and respected coaches in Eastern North Carolina, the new head basketball coach at John Paul II Catholic High School, Todd Morgan.
Thank you, Trey. I appreciate that introduction. That's pretty.
That's the best I could do.
That
man.
was awesome. That was great. No, that's awesome. Really excited about John Paul II. I think great school. I was just impressed when I saw the folks there. Miss Stanley, the principal, Coach Mason, the athletic director. They just have the right. It's all about academics. It's all about service. It's all about faith. It's all about kids having the best academic opportunities and then the best opportunities for their future. And the support is there. The facilities. I think it's going to be a great place to see what we can do in terms of building a basketball program. So I'm excited about it, really excited about it.
Man, as soon as I seen it, I was stoked. I said, that's my guy. Yeah. I said, that's my guy right there. That's my guy. I'm super proud of you as well, Coach. I follow you. You follow me as well. I consider you a friend, a mentor, somebody that guided me when I was young and dumb.
Yeah, well, same, Trey. I'm really proud of you. I think about, our time at Green Central. I mean, that was one of my stops along the way, and we weren't the biggest team, but we always had the most heart, and we played with a lot of passion, and we battled, and we competed, and we got a lot out of what we had, I felt like, and you were a big part of that. And, I think about those days, and I think about some of those kids we had, and then, you've gone on to do this show and do great things and provide great things for kids. So I'm really proud of you, for what you've done. I think about Trell Lee, who went on to be a principal of a high school, and all the great things he's done to pour into kids. I think about Joe Joyner,
absolutely,
playing pro football in Germany and all of the great things. So I just think about, man, from a small place, Snow Hill, some great things always seem to happen. So
absolutely, we'll surprise some people every now and then.
That's right.
Coach, that's enough about coaching for now.
Okay.
I know who Todd Morgan is, I think. But you tell us who Todd Morgan is. Let's start at the beginning. Where are you from?
Yeah, from Morehead City, born and raised in Carteret County. Bobby and Betty Morgan. My dad was in the Army and then later worked in civil service at Cherry Point, and that's how we ended up kind of down that way in Carteret County. My mom was a school teacher. And so at our house, if my brother Mark and I, if you wanted to play sports or you wanted to go fishing or you wanted to do any of the things, right, you had to take care of academics first. Mom was that school teacher that you had to make sure you got your homework done, everything done. And Dad was that Army background, had that firm disciplinarian that, you took care of things. So, born and raised, and they were both deacons in the church. So our faith was really important. We were there every Sunday and every Wednesday night. And but grew up in Morehead, and I was like any other kid, played all the sports growing up. Loved being fishing and on the boat and those kind of things when we had the opportunity to do that and go to the beach. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of who I am is who my mom and dad poured into my brother and I.
I don't have the Army background, but my wife has the teaching, and man, you ain't wrong there. Like that, them teachers are different.
Yeah,
you ain't coming home and not doing your work.
You're gonna get that done. You're not gonna go out there and shoot basketball if you hadn't gotten that homework done. So,
speaking of basketball, when did you pick it up? What else did you pick up? What besides girls? I know the young days. Back then, what sports were you into?
Yeah, I played everything as a kid. I was kind of one of those. Back then we weren't in that era of specialization. And so I'm an old school guy that we just played whatever was in season. And so, you would play football during football season and basketball during basketball season, baseball during baseball season. And, it's different nowadays because there's so much specialization in kids on travel teams and all these things. When I was growing up, if you were playing if you were selected to play AAU, it was only a few people picked,
Yeah.
And nowadays, everybody's playing AAU of some kind, it's different levels of that. But, yeah, I grew up playing all sports every season, and I enjoyed that. And then, got to high school really more focused on basketball and baseball. And I was really
what high school?
West Carter High School, Morehead City. Yeah, proud Patriot, right? And but I think it was just an era where we just played whatever was in season, and our whatever our favorite sport was what was in season, and that's how we grew up. And then I think that's kind of helped me when I transitioned to coaching, especially at smaller schools where you share athletes. I was already of that mindset, like you should be playing every sport because that's just how I grew up. So I think that's how I thought it should be or feel like it should be.
Got you. Moving on to college.
Yeah, had an opportunity, had a little bit of an opportunity to play some baseball in college. I was a pretty good baseball player, but had a little bit of opportunity to play basketball too. Ended up at Carolina and played on the JV basketball team there. Roy Williams was my freshman coach, and that was a great opportunity to learn. And then, kind of realized early on I wanted to go into coaching. And so for me, it became, I'm sitting here learning the Carolina way of basketball, which is pretty good, and I'm biased, but I think it's a great way to play. And so Dean Smith was the coach at the time, and then Roy Williams was an assistant coach and the JV coach. And so I had some conversations. Randy Will was one of our assistant coaches, and I had some conversations about I want to get into coaching. And we lost Coach Will to cancer this year, so God rest his soul. But he was really influential on me and Coach Williams. And then one day I did have a conversation with Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge to say, look, I want to go into coaching, and how can I? And so it just became kind of a thing. Once I finished up, I ended up was an assistant coach with the JV team, and that allowed me to learn. And so everything I know about coaching basketball or running a program or how we run practice or how we scout or how we break down film, I learned all that with Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Bill Guthridge.
And I might be saying it wrong, but I still remember our secondary break. Is that what was
Yeah,
called?
secondary break. Yeah.
I still remember.
It's funny. Coach Smith would run that Carolina secondary break, and he'd have about 17 different options off of it. And when you get to high school coaching, you can't run all those options. I think we had one or two. But we ran that Carolina secondary break, and the game's kind of changed. Obviously nowadays it's all you're trying to get 3-point shots, analytics, and a lot of things factor in. I think we were doing some of that then. We were breaking down film and we were looking at stats, and we were saying, hey, these 5 or 6 stats are really important to the outcome of the game. It was almost like we were doing analytics, but not on the level that it's done these days, So, I think we still run that Carolina secondary break, maybe a little bit different than what we used to.
Right.
We're trying to get a little different shot than what we used to. We used to try to really pound the ball inside more.
Man, being around Guthridge, Dean Smith, Roy Williams, you got to have some stories for me. You got to have some good ones. At least one good story, Coach. Or what's the best advice or whatever. Give me something, man.
I don't know. I know. I remember when Randy Will, he was always great, and of course Coach Williams and Dean Smith. Coach Williams would run us. He was really into condition. One of the things that you were going to run, and he was coaching the JV team, and we were running. And I remember Coach Smith had to come down one time and just kind of say, "Hey, Coach, that might be a little bit too much, I was thinking, thank the Lord, Coach Smith, because I was about to have my head in this trash can over here, if we keep running. But
you're right about that.
But there was something about being in shape and being conditioned and being well conditioned. And if you were going to play fast, then everybody wants to play fast until you have to do what it takes to play fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that for us was like, we were ready to play fast when that happened. I remember Randy Will was coaching the JV team, and I was assistant coach with him one year, and we were in, and we had a couple guys, Scott Dixon and Travis Stevenson, who always would play good 2-man game, right? And one was kind of a post and one was a guard, and they would play, and sometimes they would do it too much, Coach Will thought. And so at halftime, he got on him and he was like, I'm tired of this Batman and Robin stuff. There's 5 guys on the team, and da-da-da-da-da. And he gets him out. He punches the wall, the whiteboard, and now go. And the whole team runs out, and he turns to me and he says, Todd, get me some ice. I think I broke my hand.
Hey, back then too, I remember, because I'm 56.
Yeah.
Y'all played LCC.
Yeah,
I remember saying
yeah.
y'all played LCC a lot back then.
We did. We played LCC and Pitt, and we would always go to. Seemed like it was a holiday tournament, something with Pitt
Right.
and LCC, and we would play in back then.
Right,
So
I remember that.
yeah, but yeah, there's probably a lot of stories with some of the players and some of the things back then, but. Just so many fond memories, and I think it's one of these things where you think back and say, "Gosh, I didn't realize probably what an opportunity I had." I'm sitting there at every practice taking notes and getting a practice plan, and why are we doing this drill? And I'm listening and learning and trying to write my notes down. And then sometimes now even I've still got notebooks with all that stuff in it, and every now and then I'll flip back through and I'm like, my gosh, I didn't know anything, because some of my notes are so like basic, but it was a great opportunity for a young guy to learn how to coach.
What was I'm not going to stay on Carolina too much, but a lot of us never got to see, never was in that room.
Yeah.
Probably 99% of the world were never in that room.
Yeah.
What was the difference between each coach? What was the difference like?
Yeah,
You said Roy likes to run.
Yeah.
What'd you get from Dean? What'd you get from Guthridge?
Coach Smith was so. I mean, he was competitive, but he was so smart. He was so ahead of the game. And I remember I was breaking down film. We were playing Lewisburg in a JV game, and I was breaking down film because Coach Williams wanted to beat Enid Drake. That was one of the ones that he had to beat. So like that was when we actually broke down film and scouted for the JVs, just like we did varsity. And I'm in there, and a door opens in the film room, and Coach Smith walked in, and I didn't realize at the time I'm watching film, and he kind of said, "Pause it," and I looked over, and it's Coach Smith. He says, Enid likes to run that flex, but he does this with it. So make sure you put a note down about that flex and how you're going to defend the flex cut. And I was like sitting there going, "Yes, sir." Whatever you say, Coach. And that's the first thing I told Coach when I was in scout report. Look, he runs that flex, and we got to do this on that cut. But he was just so analytical and so ahead of the game. He'd watch film and he'd draw up plays, and he'd be on the 7th frame, and I'm still on the 2nd frame trying to catch up. He was just so ahead of time with that. And then, Coach Williams, dadgummit, and so competitive. And I mean, they're all competitive. Don't get me wrong, but just, I mean, he's fiery and just like you see him on the sideline, and but the nicest guy and would do anything for you. But
that was my next question.
You were going to be in shape, and you were going to. You were going to compete. You better compete. If you didn't compete, you weren't going to be on that floor very long.
I've ran into him a couple of times just in, just passing through, and every time I talk to him, he's been open to it. Yeah. Actually, one time I was covering Carolina, and we were at the Bahamas at the Atlantis tournament.
Right.
And me and my wife's in the casino at 1:00 in the morning, and the whole team is in the casino. Elliot Cadeau, Baycock's putting 500 on blackjack.
Oh, goodness.
And then here comes this little white man walking by. I said, "There goes Roy." I said, "Roy, can I get a picture?" He said, "Yes, but you better walk with me because I ain't stopping."
I ain't stopping.
I know, it's funny because I went to Roy's camp for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And when Reggie was there, I think Reggie was kind of like the second to last guy to pass the conditioning test.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of what you said about, like I said, he did not play with the conditioning. And that's one thing I took from coaching going to the coaches' camps was he was so time-oriented. When that buzzer rang, the players knew exactly what to do, how long the break was going to be.
Yep.
So that's one thing I implemented in my coach career for track and basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that was, Coach we always said it was Coach Guthridge, Bill Guthridge, Guthridge Standard Time, because he was the one keeping the clock.
Right.
And for us, you're 10 or 15 minutes early, you're on time.
Right.
And then if you were on time, you're actually late. And then they would say, if you're late, don't bother because we can find somebody else, right?
Exactly.
And so that was always the thing, being on Guthridge Standard Time. But I think that you're right. The practice plans were 2 a minute to the T. The managers run around. They've got the time on there. They're tracking every missed shot, every made shot, every turnover, so at the end of the day, there's a plus minus for practice.
Right.
And they're filming practice and so it's just a different level than what you're able to do it necessarily. You want to do all of that at the high school level. You can't necessarily do all that. You don't have 20 managers sometimes running around doing all those things.
Exactly.
But I do think the emphasis on the practice plan, the thought of the day, the offensive emphasis, the defensive emphasis, our times, the blue team, white team, and plus points and all that stuff we've been pretty consistent doing at all the different places I've been. And that's all Dean Smith and Roy Williams and Carolina basketball,
Not too many people can say that. That's pretty cool, Coach.
Yeah.
I got so excited to talk about you, to talk about Coach Big Dave, and I didn't bring in my sponsors. Shout out to Tiebreakers, man, for making sure this happens, as well as Carolina Medical Transport. Without those guys, we couldn't do the show. That's our title sponsors. Also, shout out to Bojangles for being a show sponsor. And for this segment right here is McKinnon Aaron vending machines. If you're looking to get into vending machines or you need one at your business, hit McKinnon Aaron up.
That's great.
All right. What was your favorite moment at UNC?
Anytime we beat Duke, right?
Oh, great answer. Great answer.
Well, I think that you have a lot of good moments at Carolina, but if you play in Duke, I mean, that's those were the games that mattered the most probably. And then, I was there, 86 to 91. So we had some great teams, we had some great runs, but not a national championship team. Like the 93 team won a national championship, but I think about those times when everybody's excited and you're meeting everybody down on Franklin Street, and usually those were the big wins over Duke or, ACC championship or national championship,
Gotcha.
So, but
Gotcha.
yeah, anytime you could beat Duke, that was always a good time.
For sure. It stands for me too. I love it. I'm all for it. My best friend's in the comments. He's in. He's a big Duke fan. He just says SMH. Shaking my head.
Shake my head. Yeah. Well, I get it. They and we respect. There's a healthy respect there, right?
For sure. For sure.
No, Coach Williams, you talked about that. And Michael, our son Michael, is we've got a daughter, Tally Grace, and she's 14. She'll be a freshman this year, and then Michael is a 12. He's going to 7th grade. But Michael's gone to Carolina basketball camp now for 5 summers.
I was going to bring it up.
And but I thought about that when you said Coach Williams talking to you at Atlantis. He's always so nice, and we were at camp, and he took time to get a picture with Michael and talk to Michael, and just those kind of things. Like he doesn't have to do,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't do it because it's just he saw him and he came over and started talking to him. He did that with a lot of the kids, so he's just a great person.
I follow you. So talking about that's your son, Michael.
Michael,
right?
yeah.
Talking about Michael. Every year y'all go to this camp.
Yeah.
I seen him with Hubert Davis maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I seen that picture every time.
Yeah.
I seen it with Mike Malone
Right.
this past summer.
Right.
Why is that important to you, Coach?
I think it's so important. That's I've been working Carolina basketball camp since Dean Smith in 1988. So for me, it's coming up on 40 years of working Carolina basketball camp. And then through the years, it was every different coach that coached there that was running at Dean Smith and Bill Guthridge and not the Matt Doherty years, but then I was there with Roy and I was there with Hubert, and then Malone was there this year. But it's a great camp. I used to work it 3 weeks, and then it was 2 weeks, and now with the schedules, I can usually only go for 1 week. And the last 5 summers, Michael's been able to go with me, which has really been great. And so it's just important. I see all those kids; they grow up, they love Tar Heel basketball, and they, there's kids at state camp or Duke camp doing the same thing, But at Carolina, it's important to go back and give back, and I've just been going now for such a long time. It's like one of the weeks during the summer we look forward to the most, and seeing Michael get the joy of going and getting an autograph from a player, or getting a picture with a player, or look, Daddy signed my shoe,
I just saw that. That's right.
It's really cool to see him get excited about that, and so we'll keep doing it as long as they'll let us.
and like I said on this segment right here, I told you we're going to talk about Todd Morgan, and when we're talking about Todd Morgan, we got to talk about Michael Morgan.
Yeah.
How cool is this kid? Who is this kid?
Yeah.
How's y'all's relationship?
Yeah.
How much do you enjoy it?
Yeah, and I don't want to leave Tally Grace out either, but no, that's okay. I'll talk about her too. But Michael is, kind of I guess he's mini me because he's Michael Todd Morgan Jr. So, but he plays all the sports he's been playing since he was little, and so he's really, he's a good basketball player, and he's a left-handed shooter, and but he's a really good baseball player. He made the All-Stars with basketball. He made the All-Stars with baseball. But his best sport, I think, is golf.
Oh, wow.
He can really hit a golf ball a long way.
Okay.
But he learned golf at a young age, which I didn't. And so that's a little bit different. And then, of course, he loves football, but middle school, they don't play football till 7th grade. So he hadn't really done anything with that much. But he's a good little athlete. I'm proud of him in the classroom. He's a principal's list kid.
Nice.
So he's worked hard in the classroom, does a good job there. And, it's probably hard with two educators in the household not to be focused on your grades,
right.
But and Tally Grace the same way. She does.
How old is Tally Grace?
Tally Grace is 14. She'll be in the 9th grade, and she was gymnastics and dance and cheerleading and all those things growing up, and she's the artistic member of our family. She's really, my wife's artistic as well and does a lot with art, but Tally's more into singing and playing guitar and music. She is really, really cool that way.
So I got a question. So I know you. I know you. You're very passionate when you coach, and you're very passionate when you coach.
Yeah.
How do you coach a gymnastic dancer with your fire?
Yeah, Tally she played basketball.
Okay.
And she may have had some of my fire out there on the court sometimes. She was tough. We call her a defensive queen, and she would get rebounds. But she kind of got away from it when she got into gymnastics and doing more dance and more of those other things. So, but she did do basketball for a little while, and it was fun watching her and Michael both out there on the court together. That was always cool.
I bet you won't forget those moments.
No.
Again, if you're watching a live, let us know who you are, where you're from. Drop a question. I'll ask it. Just drop it in the comments. We're gonna move to the coaching side of the career side.
Yeah.
And this segment, see if that stays up.
Yeah.
Kristen Goyette, Success Mortgage Partners. Thank you, Kristen, for being this segment sponsor. We appreciate you. Now, Coach.
Awesome.
2000, I met you 2001, roughly.
Yeah.
You graduated 88 in Carolina?
Graduated 91.
91.
Yeah.
So I know you were, I might have this wrong, correct me, East Carteret girls basketball coach, or was it West Carteret?
Yeah, I did I did West Carteret before I came to Green Central.
Okay.
But then I later did East Carteret boys and girls.
Okay, so I won't
So
wrong
you
there.
won't wrong. Yeah. You got them both.
What tell me where you went as soon as you left college. You said you knew you were going to be a coach.
Yeah.
What happened after college?
Yeah, so I went on to Georgia Southern University and got my master's degree in sport administration.
Didn't know that.
And was a graduate assistant coach there. Different because it's a football school. Georgia Southern was really big on football, but we had good basketball too. Was what was kind of fun, but it was done differently than you had different. Georgia Southern wasn't doing basketball the same way Carolina was doing basketball, right? But probably Carolina wasn't doing football the way Georgia Southern was doing football. So it was kind of good to see a different perspective on that. But then, and then I spent a year at UNC Asheville as assistant athletic director, tickets, marketing, all those different things. Because I had gotten that master's degree in sport administration, and I was kind of, am I going to coach? Am I going to go in sport administration and try to be a college athletic director? For a little while there, you were teetering on which way to go, and then ended up jumping into high school coaching out on the Outer Banks at Ocracoke School.
Okay.
That's where I started. So 94, 95.
Boys, girls.
Boys.
Okay.
Yeah. And, 1A, a small school. If you've ever been to Ocracoke, it's an island on the Outer Banks, and maybe 600 people year round, so it's really small. I can remember it like it was yesterday, and it was in 94, 95. So it was like 97 kids in the school. It was like in the whole school.
Wow.
Whole school. K through 12.
Wow.
And they were 20.
K through 12.
K through 12. There were 27 kids in the high school.
And I went to the Catholic school here in Kinston, Christ the King. We were like that when I was in school. Yeah.
And I remember, I think at the end of that year, we had 27 kids. There were 14 boys and 13 girls. And I remember this. I remember all this. But I would teach kindergarten, first grade, first period, and they were like kindergarten cop hanging on my legs, and then I would teach 11th and 12th grade second period,
Right.
and then we were actually doing weightlifting and sports and stuff. But it was different. It was
definitely
neat.
different.
Yeah,
That's neat.
But I remember that year we were 5-9. It was my first year coaching. We were 5-9. I thought it was awful, and I remember going to the principal and saying, I'm so sorry. I feel like I let us down. We didn't have a very good season. And he said, well, Todd, it's all about perspective because we hadn't won a game in 5 years. So he said, so we actually did pretty good.
Exactly.
But, that was my start. And then, didn't give up, and then had opportunity to coach at some other places, obviously. And we worked our way to that 331 wins. You showed up there.
Yeah.
Didn't happen all over at that first stop, though.
Right.
I'm gonna introduce the Green Central stop because that's all I know.
Yeah.
Like back of my hand. Come in. Behind Link Lyles, which Link Lyles was legendary.
Yeah.
Link Lyles was the man. I actually forgot about Link. Have you seen him?
Link's Link was the man. He was great.
When's the last time you seen? I ain't seen him in probably 15 years.
No, it's been a little while. I know
Okay.
when he was at New Hanover, we stayed in touch, and then I think he had moved down to South Carolina last I heard, but I hadn't talked to him in a while. So
But you come into Green Central. keep it honest, I didn't, and I told you this before the show, I didn't know how bad we were until years later. Our center was 6'2", and I think we might have had a forward that was 6'3". We had Cheston that was 6'3", and Cheston was soft. That was my boy, you know. No, rest in peace, Cheston.
Yeah.
Man, you did a hell of a coaching job with my Green Central team. I felt like we wasn't good basketball players.
Yeah.
When you compare your Jamie Mason was our point guard. He was 5'5".
Yeah.
I'm 5'6.5". JoJo was 5'11". Then you got a 6'1", 6'2" center, and we won.
Yeah, we
won.
We played hard. I mean, you know, Trey is just like you and Trail and JoJo and I mean Jamie Mason, Felt, Martrell Suggs. I mean, I can name all those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like Cheston, Clifton Chapman,
rest in peace.
But you guys bought into playing for each other and playing for the name on the front of the jersey and playing hard.
We played defense.
And we played defense.
We played
and
defense.
we were going to play defense now. And and you know, and I thought we got the most out of what we had. You know, and that's sometimes you look back and you say, it's not about the win-loss record as much as that we get the most out of what, you know, that we reach our full potential. And I think those years we did that at Green Central.
I agree. And I'm going to tell this story that me and you know very, very well. During that time, North Pitt High School was amazing. Ken Ashworth, what was his name?
Greg Ashworth.
Greg,
Coach.
okay.
Yeah, he was great.
Great coach.
Yeah.
Great coach. They ended up going to the state championship and winning. They had a couple of D1 guys on their team, D1 point guard, D1 Travis Parker. But they were amazing. They were the most athletic team we saw that year by far. But we had a plan.
We had a plan.
Let me tell you. We were at home at Green Central, and at halftime, and I this is guessing, at halftime it was 6-4. We were in the game down by 2 at halftime.
We were in the game.
We ran 4 corners, and we were getting booed on our home
No shot clock.
court. Getting booed on our home court. Coach, walk me through that. What was your mind going into that game?
You know, I think we had played.
And don't
them.
hold back.
No, we had played them, and I knew Greg was a great coach, and they were loaded. Parker and Pearson and all those guys, and they had so much depth and size, and I said, and I think they beat us by like 40 at their place. You know, it was just.
We couldn't run with them.
We couldn't run with them.
No.
And I think you have those, you know, you have those years where you have talent. Okay, we can run, and then we have talent. Okay, we got to play to our talent, and our talent isn't running. And if we do, then, you know, if we make it a track meet, they're going to win, right? And more possessions in a game favors the better team, and less possessions in a game favors the team that's the underdog. And I knew we were an underdog. And I said, well, the only way to make it a less possessions game is to stall the ball. We don't have a shot clock. We've got good guards that can handle the ball. But you guys, sometimes there's a misnomer about that, because I was on the shot clock committee, so I'm all for the shot clock. I have no problem with the shot clock.
Right.
I advocated for it when I was a chair of the basketball shot clock committee. We didn't get it passed, but I did advocate for it. But because I think as a coach, I can use a shot clock to my advantage, 2-for-1 situations,
Right.
different ways to the strategy. You know, that's how I'm a strategy X and O kind of coach. So we weren't just rolling balls out anyway, you know. So I think that worked. But without the shot clock, you are able to control the ball a little bit if you have the guards that can do it, and but it's hard. Sometimes people don't realize how hard it is to actually hold the ball against somebody.
Let me ask you just one question. Trey wasn't your version of field forward, was he?
No, we didn't. We had Jamie, and Trey was smart, and he had his role. When he got it, he swung it right back up to the top.
I got you.
And
you got to have a good point.
Yeah, you got to have a good point guard, and you know we had Jamie, and we had Joe Joyner, and we had and those guys could penetrate and kick it back up and get it back and to keep moving it. Right. And then, you know, I think it was it gave us a chance, you know. And I think down the stretch we ended up losing by 2 or 3, but it was a great game. Right. And at the end, everybody was kind of like, "Wow, that was pretty good," you know. But yeah, for a while they didn't like it.
I understand.
But that's the definition of coaching. You know what I'm saying? You got to use what's your advantage to win or keep you in the game.
Try to stay in the game. That's right.
Exactly.
But as an overall, we don't do 4 quarters to play for the whole game. That was just one of those nights. But you know, it is different. You have to as a coach, high school coach, you're not recruiting kids to come to your system,
Right.
So like I was telling Trey earlier, when I was at Chapel Hill High, we had one year we were 27-2, and we had a couple D1 guys, and we would average like 85 points a game.
Right.
And the next year we lost those D1 guys, and we lost like 90% of our scoring, from a team that averaged 85 points a
Right.
game. I think we returned like 15 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that year we went 25-4, but we were averaging like 53 points a game.
Right. Gotta
So
be flexible with
you
your coach.
had to figure out we didn't play stall ball, but we had to make sure that we
valued each possession. That's
right. Yeah.
Like I said, I followed you throughout your career in different places. But my favorite place to follow you from, the one I appreciated the most, and I appreciate it more and more because I cover this school now.
Mm-hmm.
Your stop at Jones Senior.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't give you the details, can't give you in and out. I just remember reading the newspaper looking for it. Yeah. And it was in the free press all the time. But you took that team and they were very successful. I know one kid had like 1,000 career scoring or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But you took that team and they were very successful. And after watching them, after you left and just everything else, not because you left, but the school struggles with, like you said, how you say the O'Rourke Road? How you say the first school you went to? I can't say the name.
What's that now?
Ocracoke?
Ocracoke, yeah.
Yeah, but the numbers, the numbers are very, very, very,
small.
very, very low.
Yeah.
You squeezed that and was able to be successful that not many people wasn't successful after you.
Yeah. Jones Senior's a special place. It's one of those places that, it's as a kid. When I was going to Carolina, I say as a kid, but as a young adult, when I would leave for Morehead City, and we lived out on Highway 24, so I would drive back to Carolina. Well, I could get on 70 and I could go back that way, or sometimes I would just drive down and get on 58 and I'd go back through Maysville and go past the old Jones Senior High School, and I do that because on the sign it said 1993 state champions. And it always stuck in my mind of like, man, this is a neat place. And, they won a state championship here in basketball. So they love basketball, But, they ended up back there as the AD, assistant principal, and basketball coach, doing small school, you wear a lot of hats sometimes, right? And so, but I inherited, they were 4-20 the year when I got there. And, and so there were pieces, but man, there was some talent, but it was raw, right? It was kind of like our talent at Green Central, but it was small school like Ocracoke. So there wasn't a whole lot. You just had whoever came out, there wasn't a whole lot of cuts.
Right.
And, but there was some talent, and we had the triplets, the Brooks brothers, Zach, Malik, and Kadri. And then two of them became 1,000-point scorers.
Okay.
And then we had
Janari
Hill, and he became a 1,000-point scorer. And so we had 3,000-point scorers. So we ended up getting them where they could play. I thought I called them bucket getters, buckets. I said, guys, we got some buckets, and we got to get up and down and play fast. And
so no four corners.
So no four corners there ever. We were tempo press every time we scored, and just try to get the tempo where we wanted it, because I thought if we can be up and down, we have a chance, And we ended up 19-9 that year, so we went from 4-20 to 19-9. So I thought we were pretty good. And then the next year, I think we were 20-8. So we were, we got it turned around, and then they believed in it, and then they played really hard. The triplets were great. I could never play all three of them at the same time. It was some weird dynamic with them. I love them.
I remember those guys.
I love them, but if I put them all three on the court at the same time, we would implode somehow, So I had to keep one of them off and then rotate them. But they were great, and they were great players.
I was doing my digging and research, and I don't know if this is right, but did you hire Coach Greg Hampton?
Greg Hampton was football coach.
Right.
Yeah, and
he's legendary in Jones Senior.
Greg Hampton. Look, you got Greg Hampton. Was a dear friend, and I hired him as football coach, and then later when I was a principal at Jones Senior, I hired him as AD before bringing Todd Seymour in. But Hampton, it's a really funny story, and this is kind of out of maybe not in the right order, but because you've got some other things I think we want to talk about, but. Greg Hampton might as well be on it,
That's right.
He was great. He was an Army guy. I mean, he was an Army guy. Like, he was like tough, right? He was a strong guy and a tough guy, and God rest his soul. But funny thing was Q Tucker had called and left a message at the front office for me to call her. Q Tucker, Commissioner Tucker,
Right.
Association, and I had gotten a message from this was when I was principal, and I'd gotten a message from the secretary said, "Look, Miss Q Tucker wants you to call her." And so anytime when you want to call Commissioner Tucker, you want to make sure you got all your ducks in a row, right? So I went straight to Coach Hamp and I said, "Coach Hamp, we got anything I need to worry about? Are we good on? Have we had a fight? Have we had an ejection?
Right.
Is there any fines that we need to pay? Or this was back in the day of fines.
Right.
Is our eligibility sheet turned in? Has there been,
physicals, everything?
Everything physicals? Are we good?" And I thought I knew the answers,
Right.
but because I signed off on most everything, but I just wanted to double check. And every time he would say, "Coach, no, everything's fine." And "Coach, no, we got that note. What are you worried about, Coach?" I said, "Well, Commissioner Tucker has called, and I need to call her back. Before I call her back, I need to make sure I got my stuff straight."
Right.
And so I went back and called Commissioner Tucker, and it was when she was actually calling to offer for me to be on the board of directors for the association, which was quite an honor, And so I went back to talk to Hamp, and I said, "Oh, we're good." He said, "What was that call about?" I said, "She asked me to be on the board of directors." He said, "Coach, you were the smartest dumbass I know." and that was
compliment.
That was Coach Hamp. That was just Coach Hamp, And I've told that story before, but I said, "Yep." And so at his funeral, we all had a football that we got to write a note. So I said, "Love you and miss you, the smartest dumbass you know." But yeah, Coach
Great
Hampton,
dude, man.
Great dude, man.
I just tip my hat to you on that hire. He did so much for that community.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. It was more than wins and losses.
Oh yeah, no
10
doubt.
times more.
No doubt.
It's a great dude. You rolled right into my next conversation. NCSHAA has a new commissioner.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Brad Alford. Do you know him?
Yeah.
What's your relationship with him? Tell us about him. I don't know much about him at all, Coach.
Yeah. No, Brad Alford's a great guy, and that's a great hire. He was with the association for about 15 years, I think, as an assistant commissioner. And then recently when, we had a new superintendent, Mo Green, for the state, he created kind of a statewide athletic director to oversee athletics from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction side. And Brad left the association and went and filled that role, which he's done a nice job in that role as well. And he's kind of done a nice job of now getting NCDPI and NCHSAA a little more working together, I guess, a little more transparency there, a little more communication there established. I know Superintendent Mo Green was on the board of directors, so he's familiar with the association, how important education-based athletics is for the state. So I think there's going to be a natural tie between the two. And so, I think Brad Alford will do a great job. Certainly big shoes to fill with Commissioner Tucker leaving. Q and I go way back to 1994, 95, and she was just at the association as the, she would put on the coach captain clinics and retreats and different things. And I was at Okoke and brought my kids to that, and so met her then. So I've known her a long time and then served on a lot of different committees and served on the board. And so got to know her from the business side of the association and the professional side. But Brad is going to do a great job. Very thorough. Only bad thing I can say about Brad is he's a Duke fan, but I love Brad other than that. And I say that tongue in cheek, but he is a great guy and really committed to education-based athletics. I think he'll do a great job.
All right. I'm ready to put you on the hot seat. I'm ready to get you in trouble. You ready?
Don't do it.
I got some NCHSAA questions that from the outside, it's like, why in the world would they do that? Then you come back with a smart answer. Okay.
We'll see.
8 classifications. Let's start there.
Yeah.
What was the thought process in that? I definitely see pros. I definitely see cons. What do you think was the reason of going to 8 classifications?
Yeah, and I'll give a little bit of perspective because those who are listening or watching may not know, but, because certainly 30 plus years in the NCHSAA or NCHSAA member schools or public education. And, of course, I'm excited to move into JP2.
Absolutely.
But with the association, I can speak to those things because of my 30 plus years of being a part of it, but also because I was fortunate enough to be, during that time, a member of the board of directors, a member of the executive committee, I was on the task force. I was co-chair, chair for the East for the realignment committee. I was on the education athletics committee. I was on the inclusion committee. I was the the chair of the basketball shot clock committee, chair of the NIL committee. So been on a lot of the different committees, hardship committee. So I've been very familiar with the work of the association from a standpoint of being a coach, being an athletic director, being a county AD, being a principal, 5 years at 2 different schools. And that was my time serving on the board and serving on the executive committee. So, but, the questions you're asking are more pertaining to the task force and the realignment committee. The realignment committee really just puts the schools in conferences once they were aligned to the 8 classes, but the task force job was really more to help create the playoffs and things like that. So we had the 8 classes come about because of way back there was a petition came up from the basketball and football coaches associations wanting to have fewer schools in the classes and not have as big a divide between some of the numbers.
Number 1
we had
seed and
4A with 3,500
okay.
and 4A with 1,600, and how is that a equal fair playing field? And then sometimes in 1A it's that way. 2A, 3A were fairly close in size in terms of ADM, but those disparities were pretty big in 1A and 4A, and so the number they landed on was no class could be bigger than 64 schools. So you end up with 8 classes, and I think that's where could that number have been 80 schools instead of 64, and we had 6 classes? Maybe that would have been a better fit, but that's my opinion.
I mean, if you would have went 6 classes, I would have had something to say.
Yeah,
it don't matter. Somebody
had something to say. And so, but once it was in the bylaw that it was approved, because that took a membership, 75% of the membership had to vote to approve that to go to 64 per class, and once over 75% of the membership schools voted and approved that, then we really had no say. It was okay. It's going to be more than 64 in each class. And so then if you have 400 and some members, 444 member schools, you do the math, you say, well, it's going to be 8 classes, because that gives you a little bit of room for growth as more schools are added.
All right. Next question.
Okay.
And before I say this, I always got to lead with this. This is nothing against prep schools. The athletes and coaches play on whatever playing field they're told to play on.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah.
The introduction to prep schools, Queens Grant, Wilson Prep, it's different. It's if you're from a public school, you're looking at like, hold up, that's not North Lenore.
Yeah.
Like it seems like they have a little different set of rules on who they can take in, who they can take out. What's your opinion on that, or why did that process happen? I don't even know what I'm asking. I just know it's a topic.
I get it. It's been a topic for a long time. When I was on the education athletics committee, it was a topic back then, and that was in 2014, 15. So I've been kind of a part of a committee that was looking at that. Back then, I was at Jones Senior. I was at East Carteret. I was at Pamlico. I was at some of those smaller schools, and we were arguing where we were wanting, traditional versus non-traditional is the way we would looked at it. And we thought those prep schools and those charter schools and those schools were more non-traditional schools versus what we thought of as traditional schools. When you really start to dig deeper, as I got on these different committees and started working, you realize that the charter schools are public charter schools. So they are considered public schools, and therefore they fall under the NCHSAA with the public school piece. So, though they do have a little difference in terms of sometimes their area that they draw from, and we, kind of looked at that as maybe that's unfair because we're at Jones County and it's just drawing from Jones County, right? And just for example, Durham Voyager Academy is drawing from Durham. Well, it's a big difference between Durham and Jones County, right? In terms of just population. So we felt like there was some, advantage, disadvantage there. And we felt like, is there a way to level that playing field? But when you really get into it, you realize that they are treated as public schools. So they have to be a part of the public school association. So that's where that kind of falls. Yeah.
And And my thing is, it's not them being in it. It could be leveled out a little bit. And it's hard though. Like you said, you don't. I don't know the answer because you got your ADM, you got your numbers.
Yeah.
And what do you judge off of? Do you judge off winning? If they win a state championship, did it move up?
Yeah.
It's hard.
We had gone to, we had gone to a system, a model with realignment a few years ago with where they would get different points if they were having certain success levels, and that might then bump them up to a higher class. And of course, then when we had House Bill and all the different things that got involved with the legislators, that was all kind of taken out. So now the way it is set up, it is strictly on ADM by law. So you kind of have to follow that because that's now a state law.
Now let's talk about why you're here. Not why you're here, but one of the most important things that's happened lately. Why John Paul? What did you see from John Paul to say, I want to go there?
Yeah, I think
it's a great school, by the way.
I do too. I was just so impressed. Coach Donald Clark, who you know from Green Central, who I know from tennis,
I know him from
tennis star, one of the best, if not the best, tennis coach in the state, and
Hall of
Famer, and just a great man, but an even better teacher.
Yes.
I mean, he is just as good in the classroom or better than he is on tennis court, and that's hard to say because he's just as good a person. I mean,
most definitely.
Donald Clark, was at Green Central when we were there. Years later, I'm a principal at Charles B. Aycock, and I'm looking for a tennis coach, and I called Coach Clark. In the back of my mind, I thought, man, if I could get Coach Clark, that'd be a home run. It'd be out of the park. But I really was calling him, asking if he had somebody in mind that I could call.
Right.
And can you put me on to somebody? I need a good tennis coach.
He gave you a good one.
And he ended up gave me a good one. Didn't he? He gave me a great one. He came on board. And but when I was kind of at my point in my career with over 30 years, when looking and saying, you kind of have, everybody has a different mountain, and for me, I was a coach and teacher, and then I became an AD, and then I worked up and was a county AD and an assistant principal and then a principal for 5 years. And then I kind of coming back down the mountain as far as I look at it, I'll be 58 August 20th. So I'm getting on that backside of my career now. And I think about, I was assistant principal, AD, and then assistant principal. And so now it's kind of the natural trajectory or natural progression, I guess I should say, to move back into coaching. And I miss it. And I'm just going to dust that whistle off, see if it'll still work. And but really passionate about it. Still been doing a lot with Morgan Basketball Academy and a lot with camps, a lot with coaching youth and young people with my son playing and a lot of different levels. But I'm excited to get back into the gym at the high school level. Excited what we can do at John Paul II and building something. But when I got talked to Coach Clark, and that kind of initially gauged my interest, and I reached out, and then Miss Stanley, the principal there, is wonderful, and Coach Mason, the AD there, is just great. I mean, everybody I've met have been first class. The facilities are really nice. It's high academic standards. First and foremost, students first, student athletes. They want things to be done the right way. It's faith-based, a Catholic school, and so you're going to take care of your business in the classroom first. I mean, it aligned really to who my parents, put into me and my brother. We were going to take care of our academics first. Sports are going to be important. We're going to compete. We want to represent our school and our community well. But so I'm just really excited about it. I want to see what we can do there, and I think it can be just a great place to pour into kids through the game of basketball. But me, it's more about life lessons than it is about winning basketball games.
Well, tell the John Paul community that don't know you, what type of coach are they getting? If they ain't been watching for the past 54 minutes, tell them what type of coach they're getting.
Well, I think, someone who's dedicated and committed to the kids. I mean, we're certainly going to work hard, and we're going to do it the right way. I mean, it's going to be, I want you to compete. We're going to play defense for sure. And the offense we'll figure out. If we got any buckets, we're going to play a certain way. If we don't, we'll have to play a different way. But I don't think it'll be 4 corners. But I think we've got some guards that can play, and so we're going to be fun to watch. But I think it's just more about, really, we want them to be building leaders, building champions, and it's just about, people have asked me before about, well, how was that team? That team was great. And I said, well, ask me in 20 years. I'll tell you if they were great. Because it's really more about they go on to run their own shows. They go on to be principals. They go on to be successful in the community and citizens and fathers. And those things are more important to me. You know, I think the wins are, during the season, we want to win games, certainly.
Absolutely.
But
have you ever had a job where winning was paramount and they let you know that?
No, I think when I got the job at Chapel Hill High, I had been at Goldsboro High, and Goldsboro High I loved that job, and didn't want to really leave Goldsboro, honestly. Chapel Hill called me, and we had a great run at Goldsboro, and I thought, we got a team that's going to win a state championship right here. I'm not really going anywhere.
Right.
I actually talked to Wells Gulledge about it. I remember making a call to Wells, and it's one of those hard places to leave. Goldsboro High, just a great.
Right.
I love that. But I remember when I had to tell those kids, we all sat on the bus and cried together, and I cried as much as any of them, But it was that impactful of our time together. But Chapel Hill called, and it was just a hard place to turn down because I have such connection to Chapel Hill, and that was a great place. But I remember when I got in there was a committee, and they said, "Coach, don't worry, the program's been down for a while, and if we don't get it turned around, we give you 5 years to get it turned around. Don't worry, we're not going," And I remember telling him, I said, I don't mean this cocky, but if we don't get it turned around in 3 years, then I wasn't the right man for the job, and I'll walk away. I said, then I meant that. And, you kind of walk out going, man, what did I say that for? But we had a good run. We finished 5th the first year in the conference, and then we won the conference 4 years in a row. And third year we were in the Final Four in the state regional finals. So we did pretty good.
Let me ask you this quick question. And it's kind of like, and I'm glad you brought Wells' name up, because when he went to Parrott, like, this is my personal opinion, I kind of feel like he was used to driving a Ferrari, and he got like I don't want to say like a Ford Escort, but I'm just saying, it's like, I think he was like a different intensity of basketball. And I kind of feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it wasn't really a good fit for him.
Okay.
But, and I don't want to say like privilege, but if you go to a school, and like, if you got a hard edge coach, and just say I'm one of your players, and I'm going like, Mama, he was too hard on us today, and they go complain to the school. So how do you feel about situations like that? Because and that is something that could come up.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I'm excited about what I look at. I think about like Chapel Hill. We had, when you have, I guess, when schools who have high academic standards,
right?
Then certainly, sometimes there's a mindset that like, we don't necessarily put academic or athletics like on that same standard. But I think what I saw at a Chapel Hill High, and what I think at a Topsail High, or what I think at a JP2, probably a Parrott Academy you mentioned with Wells, if you've got academics that are high expectations, probably arts and athletics are also at high expectations. It just depends on getting everybody on board with what the how you change the culture.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's like say like, if I play, my friend, he doesn't know nothing about basketball, but you got to put him on the team.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced any coaching like that?
No. I think everywhere I've been, we have tryouts, and you got to make the team.
Yeah. Well, I ain't saying it's gonna be like that, but hey, it could be like that.
Speaking of APA.
Yeah,
you brought them up. This is a rival that you're walking into. What do you know about it, and how excited are you to get into it?
I've heard, and this is amazing because living in New Bern, we've got a lot of families there that I think some go to JP2 and some go to APA, and they bust up, and so I've already kind of heard some of that hey, that's a rivalry, you go into our rival and that kind of thing, which I think is great. I've saw some pictures from their games, and the gym's packed, and it seems like a really great environment. So I'm excited for that opportunity.
One advantage you got, I don't think they have a head coach yet. So
okay,
you're right. That's a good one. We got the first step. Coach, what is the best rivalry you ever been in high school?
High school, gosh, there's so many good ones. Anytime you get the county rivals, I mean, East Cart, West Cart is always just crazy. East Chapel Hill is crazy. But you got, I mean, like the neat thing is being on both sides of like East and West, because I coached at West and East. Aycock and Goldsboro, being on both sides of that, having coached at both places, and having won at both places against the other. I think that you get those. Those are just fun to be in. The atmosphere. It's packed house. I mean, it's hard to pick one. If I had to say, I guess I would. I don't know. East Cart, West Cart is just hard to beat.
But
it's
that's
so
home
loud.
too,
It's
right?
home.
I mean, that's home. That's
It's
got to be
home,
it.
and that's
man.
it. Chapel Hill, East Chapel Hill. I remember the first time we played them. Ray Hartsville was coaching at East Chapel Hill, and it was great. But we're playing at East, and somebody threw a nickel and hit me in the ear, and I was ticked off the rest of the game. And I was like, "We're beating them just because I got hit in the head with a nickel."
That's a good story.
And I was like, "Oh man!" And we did win. I remember we did win, and I was like, "Well, at least it was worth that." But yeah, I think the East Chapel Hill is hard to beat just because it's so loud in those gyms. But the same as East Carteret, West Carteret, man. I mean, and same with the Mullet Bucket when they play football. It's not necessarily. There's other schools that have better. New Bern, man. New Bern's tough. When you play New Bern, West Craven, New Bern, Havelock. Any of those.
You hit it on the head. It's the county rivalries.
County rivalry
game. But East Carteret, West Carteret has got to take it. It
would take it from me.
You can be biased from home.
Probably because I'm from home.
For you, it's different for everybody.
That's right.
One thing I didn't talk about. I plan on putting a picture up. Didn't ever do it. Your shirt. Morgan's Basketball Academy.
Yeah.
Talk to me. When did this happen? What's your vision? What are you doing with it?
Yeah.
How many kids are you blessing?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Been blessed. Through the years, I've done basketball camps, going way back to, 88, 89, 90, in those, late 80s, early 90s, Crystal Coast basketball camp down in Morehead City. And then through the years, every place I was, we would run a basketball camp at the school, and at New Bern, we ran it. Jones Senior, we ran it. At Aycock, we ran it. Chapel Hill, we ran them. We would run them during the summer. And it was more help fundraise for the program, but to pour into the kids and start getting some young kids in our program and connected to us. But since I got out of coaching and, I started doing camps at a local church, Temple Church in New Bern. And we just called it Morgan Basketball Academy, MBA. And then, we kind of did it for a while just like that. And then all of a sudden I said, I need to go ahead and make this kind of official. So we got a logo and we got LLC and we got shirts. And now we do camps and we do individual training and we do coaches clinics and coaching training. And so done a little bit of everything. It's around Eastern North Carolina. I think one of our hashtags is have ball, will travel. So there's no telling where that truck with a bunch of bags of balls in the back of it will be heading. But, all over East North Carolina, a lot of kids blessing me, really. And but so I might be down in Carteret County, I might be in New Bern, or I might be running up to Greenville, or I might be down in Topsail, or, Greene County, Lenore County,
Eastern North Carolina,
Goldsboro, wherever, anywhere in Eastern North Carolina. We've even done some stuff in Chapel Hill. So, I think it's been a blessing for me, really, just as getting to pour back and give back to kids. But they really, I get more of it than they get out of me, I'm sure.
I'm sure everybody gets a lot out of it, man. You're a great coach. I told you I'm sending my stepson to you. It's coming.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to see if my wife is watching. If she hasn't, I'll tell her.
Let me ask you one quick question. Have you noticed a difference in the last 20 years as far as basketball IQ for high school players?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I think that's one of the things too that's attractive about, you go into a school like JP2, hopefully where we can get some kids who, I've always felt that kids who are smart and they work hard in the classroom, if they will take that same approach to basketball and learning how to play, you can play it on a different level. And not just JP2, you can do it anywhere. But I do think that basketball IQ, because it's kind of the European model, is practice, train, learn, and then play. And they might practice 5 days and play 2. And the American model with AAU, nothing against AAU, I've coached AAU too, we'll play 5 and practice 2.
Right.
Or we might play 6 and practice 1. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like ours is more about playing events and getting kids playing than it really is about practicing. And it seems like we've kind of got a flip from what the European model is.
Right.
And I think that probably does help them with skill level development and basketball IQ development, longevity, and maybe their kids are a little. You start seeing the European game, and they're catching us or passing us. And then you start seeing the NBA and different levels of basketball. Sometimes, I love watching NBA, but I can watch some European basketball, and those high-level teams, man, they play some really good basketball.
Yeah, because I used to always say if you wanted to teach, like when because I coach AAU boys and girls,
right?
If you wanted to teach the essence of the game, look at the girls' game. This is like years ago, and I would show my players, take them to some of the the girl college game stuff. But they even got a little flashier and showboaty like the guys a little.
Yeah, I think I coached boys and girls, which was great. When I was at East Carter and when I was at Cape Hatteras, I coached boys and girls. And the unique thing would be the only challenge we had was when we made playoffs, and both teams went in playoffs, and if we're both home, it was fine.
Right.
But if one was away and one was home, it made it a little bit tricky sometimes. But I did enjoy coaching the girls, and you're right. I thought they were. Sometimes the girls are more coachable than the guys, and they'll try to run the play, and the guys will go out there and they won't necessarily run the play. And,
I think the girls will be smarter, but they wouldn't move as natural as the guys.
That's right. But then the game flows, so it's a different game a little bit.
Most
but
definitely.
Love watching the WNBA. Of course, the Caitlin Clark effect. I always think there's some great talent in the WNBA. Definitely. But it's amazing how I saw camp numbers of girls coming to camp go up because of the Caitlin Clark effect. For years we were running camp and I wouldn't have very many girls come to camp. And then all of a sudden now we have a lot more girls coming to camp.
That's true, because I used to work IT at Duke for like 6 years, and the assistant coaches make their money from camps. And now you got this showboat. It's like, I think that, and I would say like this generation is kind of like 5-minute society. So these kids, they don't really want to go to camp and learn and slow down.
Yeah.
But if you just throw the ball out there and let them run all day,
they'll play. They'll show up.
All right, I got some people in the comments. Need to give them some love. Joseph Nobles.
Yes,
sir.
Great.
He's made a couple of comments. Last one where rivals make sports fun.
Yeah.
Chris White said, "What's up, Trey Scott? What's up, Chaparral? What's up, Chris?
What's up, Chris?"
My dad said on his off time, does he fish on the coast?
Yeah, definitely. Have to do that. You have to do that.
You look like a fish.
Yeah, I love, that was growing up as a kid. Salt water in your veins. So definitely fish.
Good deal. We're going to, I got one more question. We have to move on, but I got one more question.
Okay.
Why wasn't, this is asking you as a fan, because I know you're a fan.
Yeah.
Why wasn't Hubert Davis successful? And I'm not saying he wasn't successful. You get what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, Hubert's a great friend. That was one thing. You got to go back. I was living on the basketball hall and as a junior, and Hubert's a freshman coming in. So I've known Hubert a long time, And then, he played at Carolina, was a great player, and then played in the league for, 11 years and did all the things. In terms of, I think he's great. I hate that Caleb Wilson got hurt. I would like to have seen what would have happened had that, because I think they would have made a run to maybe the Sweet 16. Does that mean he still has his job? I don't know, because I think what they were looking at more is just history of what was going on at some of the other programs, Duke and the Kentuckys and the Kansas and the Blue Bloods and recruits, and why have we not signed as many of the big time recruits? So I think those were the things that at the end of the day were the reasons why he was let go. He's the nicest guy, the best person I know, really. And I hate it didn't work out, because I think he loves Carolina and loves Carolina basketball. But, at the end of the day, it's a business, and it's tough, because I think Mike Malone is going to be great. I mean, he's an X&O guy. He's a hard worker. Like, his work ethic is unbelievable. Not that Hubert's wasn't a solid work ethic, but from what I understand, it is just relentless recruiting, and we're now in with a lot of those bigger level guys.
In Europe, he's killing Europe.
He's got a lot of connections there from his NBA days. And so, and I had a chance to meet him at camp. He came over, he was really nice, and, talked to me. He already knew my son Michael was at camp. And so, he's taking time to figure out some of the things that are important to the traditions of the Carolina way,
Right.
and maintaining that while he's putting his fingerprints all over it. You know.
Awesome. I can't wait. I'm ready to see what he does.
Yep.
I have to talk about football. We've been talking about basketball for an hour. I have to talk about my summer series. And let's go ahead and jump into our East of I-95 summer series. There's the schedule. We're on top 10 athletes at the bottom. And we're going to start with our tiers. Here's our tier 3. I'm going to go ahead and throw them up. Dawson Crosby. Watch this kid, man. East Columbus has a dog. His numbers don't show exactly what he can do, but I've seen him. He's got a new coach. He's got a new system. This guy's going to move up on the list. Dawson Crosby. Jaden Lewis, East Bladen, 5'11", 165 DB, running back, ran for 1,400 yards, caught 270. Also had 4 picks, 49 tackles. Keegan Blanchard, just did a podcast with this guy. He's a lot better than I thought or that I knew of. Didn't know him that well. Getting his mentality, looking at his stats, 38 catches, almost 700 yards catching, 9 touchdowns, 55 tackles, 4 interceptions, 1 pick six, 1 kickoff return for touchdowns. Let's look at tier 2. Tier 2, Damari McNeil in Northeastern, 6'2", 220 running back. He is a bowling ball. I seen him play myself. 96 carries, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. Can catch out in the backfield a little bit, but he hits on defense as well. 44 tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. Sam Finch from Fike. This kid can ball, man. Almost 2,500 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, 13 picks, but had 342 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns. Reginald Gray from Northside Jacksonville. 2,600 yards passing yards, 26 touchdowns, also 387 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. Northside's been a big program because of Gray. This next one is somebody you need to know. Jordan Matheson from Martin County, 6'5", 200 pounds, and I think he's 220. I don't think that's 200 right. 78 carries, 608 yards, 10 touchdowns, caught the ball in the backfield a little bit, 83 tackles, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and the kid's got offers from everywhere. Let's keep moving. Top 3. Mez Harris took Hunt to the state championship last year. Absolutely is a athlete. He's not a quarterback. He is a athlete. Threw for 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. Ran for 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. Also 70 tackles, 4 interceptions. Number 2. These next 2 kids are my favorite kids on the list. Cannon McBride, Croatan, 6'3", 195. 2,000 yards throwing, 30 touchdowns, only 6 picks. 85 yards rushing. That surprised me a little bit, but here's the athlete part of it. 61 out of 63 extra points made, 10 out of 14 field goals made, 45 long, and I've heard that he can make a 60-yarder. That's what I've heard.
They've got video of it on his Instagram.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
Certified dog.
Also averaged 25 points per game on the
in
court.
basketball. He's a monster.
Then my top dog, I had him here earlier. I glazed T.O., and he deserves it. I don't care. From Princeton, North Carolina, only 326 yards passing, but 8 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 2,500 yards rushing, 36 touchdowns, 41 tackles, 3 TFLs, and 5 interceptions. That is our top 10 athletes for this upcoming fall. Next, we'll have top 50 players all time, not all time, top 50 players in Eastern North Carolina. Then after that, we'll have our top 25 rankings. All right, let's keep moving. WNBA. I didn't even list it this time as in the topic because there's a couple we can talk about. But All-Star Game, Chaparral, you watch it?
Yeah.
How bad was it? It was terrible. It was terrible.
The skill stuff was better than the game.
The missed layups just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'm not talking jump about the girls. We watched the men's All-Star Games. It's terrible too. But good God.
Yeah, it was bad. And that's crazy because I've been saying this week after week, the WNBA is forward center driven. And you don't have in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to have a lot of influx of better guards in, but those missed layups and stuff like that was the result. All-Stars usually a guards type show, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's probably the big problem.
It definitely was a 3-point contest.
Yeah.
It definitely was. Kelsey Plum had a good idea. Like, we got to throw some money on it.
Oh, yeah.
You got to give them something to compete for. Give them a playoff spot.
And with them,
whatever.
It'll mean more because the guys, the money really don't mean nothing to them. But if you put a little money on with those ladies, I think you will see.
Do it like the All-Stars. I don't know who used to do this, but All-Stars used to do, if you won, You got home court advantage in the Super Bowl or
baseball?
Or
I think it was
NFL.
baseball.
Was it baseball?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's
Baseball.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like here's your chance, and you get something valuable out of it.
That's right.
But also WNBA, there was a lot of partying going on. I loved watching the Stud Buds. Y'all probably
LGBT community.
It
Does
was
not
great.
reflect my view. No, I'm sorry.
But I'm gonna have a Caitlin Clark moment. She called out the press. What do y'all think about it? She called out the press, said, "Look, y'all gotta understand. I'm 24 years old. What people believe is what y'all write, and what y'all write is so far off from who I am. Like, how do you feel about that comment? Is it truth? Does she have something to stand on there?"
I'm gonna tell you my personal opinion, and I meant to say this last show. They showed a clip of her daddy telling her, "Just shut up and play." Her dad told her, he gets on her at the games. And for any player in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark could call for a press conference or sit down with any outlet, any Trey Scott show, ESPN. She can sit down. So if you really want people to understand your inner workings, that's your fault, because you like somebody will give you an interview in 1 second. So I think
my thing is, she shouldn't have to answer questions about what fans do. Now she done stood on business a year ago and said, "Look, I support this. I support the women, the community, whatever it is." But if there's a journalist writing, which this is true, a journalist wrote and compared her to the woman in the Emmett Till story that got Emmett Till killed by lying.
Yeah, now that's
crazy.
That's
she shouldn't have to answer that. And that was the USA Today journalist.
Yeah, that's out of they don't have nothing to do with you. Now I do feel like her being the face of WNBA, whether people like it or not,
comes with it,
and that comes. And when I say the emphasis, I look at her in the realm of Magic and Bird when the NBA was on tape delay, when there was no money in it. Like, if it wasn't for those two, then Jordan coming on after them, that's what boosted the revenue, so everybody could eat. All the owners quadrupled the ownership of the team. The players got mad money. So I think it's a great responsibility that comes with her and thing. And she may not be built to carry all of that stuff, but it's on her. So and a million people would trade places with her. So I feel like
I agree with that.
she has to bite the bullet on that. And I was thinking about this. It's funny, I was driving transit part-time. It's funny, I was thinking about her today. I said, she's right there with Indiana Fever, right where Larry Bird is at. Like, he would be the best mentor for her and everything she's going through. That's
interesting.
And I thought about that, and I say, in the psyche that she needs is what Bird was a monster.
And he was very involved with the Pacers.
Most of it. I thought about, I said, because I kept thinking the other week, I said, mentor, this, that. But I was like, then I said, Bird's right there in Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, so.
A great mentor for
Yeah,
her.
great. And I'm telling you, like, and guys can be more athletic, what you call, but Bird would eat their lunch. He would talk junk to him and in a manner where only him and that guy were talking. But he would talk catch up, but he would back it up and let you know he's this, that. And he didn't flop for no fouls. He didn't cry to the refs. And I think that's the biggest turnoff for her, just that one aspect right there. But you got to respect her. There's no ifs.
I want to go to the comments. I definitely want your take, Coach. But first comment, Chris, I should have mentioned this, the dunk, Malonga dunk. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was impressive to me. I mean, how many times have you seen a girl dunk? I've seen it like twice in my life.
And it's crazy. South Carolina got 5 or 6 girls that could dunk this
And
year.
she flushed
Wow.
it. Like, it was
Yeah.
easy. Next one. My wife agreed it was terrible. The crowd wasn't even to it. She agreed. Throw some money at it. Jamarcus Artist said, Coach
Artist.
Morgan, what's up?
What's up,
Chris,
Jamarcus?
and Chris White says she just needs to play.
Yeah.
Coach, what's your take on it?
I think that's a great point about Larry Bird. I was reading his book this summer, kind of his life growing up. And I think that's, you become that kind of the face of the NBA or the face of the WNBA, like Jordan did, like Magic did. And whether you like that or not, there's some responsibility that comes there, So, but I think some mentoring from him would be a great, if they could make that connection, that's
Perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. You say some great stuff every now and then.
I'm not sitting over here just looking sexy.
All right, let's move on. I owe somebody lunch.
Dinner.
I owe somebody lunch. Let's see, what camera are we? There we are. I owe somebody dinner Probably gonna be Kings down the road from off Vernon.
I'm not going to step into that hornet's nest right there, buddy.
I lost my bet. I said LeBron James was going to Cleveland. I was wrong. Somehow Chaparral got lucky.
Lucky?
What you got, man? What you think about the move?
To me, when we made this bet, I was thinking in my mind, I was like, LeBron likes to do something that will shock the thing. Out of all the teams that were in it, and as crazy and rabid as Philadelphia fans are, if he could come there and play part and bring them a championship, just in 1 year, he'll be a god.
He'll be a god.
He'll be a god.
That's a good point.
Everywhere else on that list, except for Golden State, he's done it before. He's been there before. If he goes to Philly, like I said, it's funny because the guy said they put out the little statues, so they won't mind getting one. You know, AI statue is small. But if he went to Philly, he would be a GOAT if he brought a champion, if he played part and bring a championship to him. And that's why
he would be a GOAT in Philly. He's already a GOAT.
He's already a GOAT.
He's already a GOAT.
Definitely. But in Philly, they would love him like he's been there 30-something years.
That's a good point. What you think, Coach? What you think about LeBron moving?
I thought if New York hadn't won it this year, I thought his play was going to be to go to New York and try to
that's
bring
what he
a
said.
championship to them.
Yeah, they did.
And so then when they did win it, then it was like the Philly thing made sense, because it's like, especially once they picked up Jaylen Brown and they've got Maxey and they've got Embiid and they've got, they got the pieces, right?
Anthony Simmons.
And and that VJ
Edgecombe,
Dean.
But Dean. So that's I think you're right. If he could win one in the next 2 years there, then he's out and he's won one at another, LA, Cleveland, Miami.
Philly, and it's funny because if he won one, they haven't won one since Malone and Dr. J. Barkley never won one there. So
yeah,
got you.
True.
Here's my feel on it. He has took small pay cuts before, but I love this move. That mug is making $3 million. His contract is he's a $60 million a year guy.
Yeah.
Oh. He took $3 million contract. Like, I'm all for it.
Just want to win.
It wasn't about LeBron.
All his jerseys are sold out already on every single color.
So he's
gonna make a little up off the side.
and like Chris just brought up, he said they didn't need LeBron. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
So that means, look, let's be real. LeBron's 42. He can't play 82 games.
Yeah.
He has to take games off. He has to. Whether it's an injury or whatever, he's going to take games off. This is the perfect team to spot play on.
Yeah. And and I'm gonna tell you, it like I said, I'm 57, so up old school. He could play the role of middle-aged Magic Johnson on that team to a T.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have a point guard at all, a true point guard.
Yeah, Maxey's a scorer.
Exactly.
He's a bucket
so
getter.
He's a bucket. So he can play the role of Magic and every now and then, like I said, step on the gas when he gets ready.
Yeah.
And Magic always had that good athletic two guard, but really was a point guard side beside him. So it always offset the matchup problems that they would have. But I definitely see them working quick.
All right. I got to wrap it up, Coach. Man, I'm super proud of you. That comes from here. I've been one of your biggest fans. I know you're one of mine as well. All the lessons you gave me when I was in high school still carries on now. You done your job. I quit my senior year because life got hard on me and I made the wrong decision. And that's a decision I will never forget. I remember him and Coach Quinley telling me, if you quit this one time, it's going to make every time you think about quitting easier. Mm-hmm. That has stuck with me for my life. Yeah. It wasn't just that. You taught me how to play defense. You taught me how to play basketball. You reassured me that being a Carolina fan was right.
That's right.
Best advice ever. Best advice ever.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Trey. I'm proud of you, certainly. I mean, I think what you're doing is great. I love the fact that we talk sports, but we're also promoting Eastern North Carolina student athletes and high school sports. I love that. So appreciate all you do. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Shout out to John Paul. They're getting a good one. Big shout out to our sponsors, Tiebreakers, Caroline Medical. Also, San Juan. I know it's backwards. San Juan El Nuevo San Juan Mexican restaurant. The best Hispanic food in town. That's all I got for episode 10. Chaparral, you good? Got anything?
I got one more thing to say. My 8th grade girl, she PR'd this weekend.
57?
Mina Naylor, she ran a 57, and when she's going to Richlands High School, she pretty much already owns the records before she stepped on campus. So shout out to my girl Mina Naylor. She wanted me to give her a shout out a couple weeks ago, but she's a perfect athlete, certified dog under Coach Pitt, but she busted the 57 this weekend in 400, which is
Insane.
Insane for
Insane.
eighth graders. So shout out, Mina.
Hey, you go, girl. You go. Good job, Coach. That's all I got. This is Trey Scott, the Trey Scott Sports Show. We'll see you next episode on episode 11.